This is a knitted cast on and also a cable cast on. We'll show one and then the other. We start with a slip knot, making a circle with your yarn and pulling through a loop, not the whole end, just a little loop comes through like so. That'll go onto the needle in your non-dominant hand, so for me that's my left hand. I usually tuck the end out of the way so that I won't accidentally start knitting with it and run out of yarn pretty quickly. Then it's a lot like a knit stitch, so you're going to put your needle in like you're knitting, wrap your yarn, come out of the stitch. You basically do everything but take the stitch off your left needle. Since we want to be adding more stitches, instead you're going to take your left needle, or whatever your non-dominant hand is, and slide it up into the loop on your right needle so that both needles are sharing a loop. Then you're going to keep them both in there, arrange it back in your X shape, wrap your yarn, come out of the old stitch, make sure you don't take it off out of habit, and then your other needle slides up from below. So here I've been throwing the yarn in my right hand. I'm going to switch over to picking with it in my left hand, and if ever you're pausing just to take a break if you have a lot of stitches or need to count, I just take my right hand needle out of there. So looks just a little bit different with the yarn in this hand. Then go and wrap, and I don't normally do this in knitting, but in casting on it helps a lot to reach out and hold on to it with my index finger. And then slide up, catch the yarn, pull it through, slide up, and so on. Now there's a variation on this knitted cast on that's called a cable cast on. It takes a bit more time. It is less stretchy but more stable, and sometimes that's what you need, and I think it looks a little nicer. So for this one, you do take your needle out every time, and then you insert the needle in between two stitches. And then again, you would catch the yarn, pull it through, put it on here, take the needle out, insert it in between two stitches. So I'm not going into that loop, I'm going all the way past that loop. And again, I'm going to switch which hand I'm holding the yarn in, so you can see it the way that you hold your yarn. So I'll put my needle in between, oops, split my yarn there. Wrap, come out of the stitch, put it on that same way so the needle tips are pointing the same direction, needle out, in between. So you want to be a little careful you don't pull this one too tight because it is more structured and less stretchy to start with. If you do it tight, you might get a very inelastic edge, but again, sometimes that's what you need. So I think that this looks better than the knitted cast on, but you can see it's got less stretch to it. So, you know, choose between the two based on what your project is, and you can always cast on your swatch half with one of these and half with the other, and then you can test them out in 3D on your swatch.